Hi, this is Amba from the Equal Center for Promotion of Social Justice in Chennai. The Law Commission of India is currently looking at writing a report on a uniform civil code for the country. In this video, we will explain a bit on uniform civil codes, what they mean, what the role of the Law Commission of India is, and why we believe that a submission on behalf of the disability sector should be made. Let's start with what a civil code is. A civil code governs all parts of a person's private life, that is, what concerns the relationship between two private citizens. This includes law relating to contract, family law, like marriage, divorce, adoption, custody, and law relating to property, including who gets to inherit property and who your property goes to after you are no more. Right now, most religious communities in India have their own laws in place. Hindus have their own laws on marriage, divorce, property inheritance, and guardianship of children. The Indian Marriage Act, Indian Divorce Act, and Indian Succession Act all pertain to Christians. Some of the laws relating to Muslims have been codified, and some are still governed by custom or Sharia law. Parsis have their own marriage and divorce law. Sikhs have the recently passed Ananda Marriage Act. Buddhists and Jains are covered under Hindu law. What a uniform civil code seeks to do is to have the same law for everyone, regardless of their religion. The idea to have a uniform civil code is nothing new. In fact, the Constitution of India talks about it in Article 44. The state shall endeavor to secure for citizens a uniform civil code throughout the territory of India. Dr. Bhimrao Ambedkar, who is in this photo, was chairperson of the Constituent Assembly and supported a uniform civil code. But other representatives wanted to retain the right of the religions to control these aspects of their followers' lives. Activists still want a uniform civil code for many reasons. Individual religions discriminate against women and girls when it comes to divorce and inheritance of property. The issue of a uniform civil code is controversial for several reasons that we won't discuss right now. The Law Commission of India is currently preparing a report on the issue. The Law Commission of India is based in Delhi and comprises of legal experts. They get mandates from the government or, like in this case, from the Supreme Court, or they may come up with an issue themselves on some law that needs to be revisited. They then prepare a report. This report is submitted to the Ministry of Law and Justice. The Ministry of Law and Justice takes steps to get the report recommendations passed as law. Often, the draft report which is submitted by the Law Commission of India includes a draft law. Now, while civil laws cover many aspects, it looks likely that what is being proposed as a uniform civil code is only going to look at laws related to the home and family. The Convention on the Rights of Persons with Disabilities has important provisions relating to home and family in Article 23. Not all of these will find place in a uniform civil code, but all the same, let's look at some of the rights under the Convention. This is a photo of a happy couple. The woman is pregnant, there is a child, and the man does not have either arms or limbs. They are posing against the seashore. Persons with disabilities have a right against discrimination on the basis of disability in enjoying the rights and obligations of all aspects of marriage, family, parenthood, and relationships. Persons with disabilities who are of marriageable age have the right to marry and have a family with any person of marriageable age who they freely and fully consent to marry and who similarly freely and fully consent to marry them. This is a photo of a mass marriage of persons with disabilities taking place in India, the bride being lifted by a support person to be placed next to her groom. This is a photo of a couple with a newborn baby. The mother of the child has brittle bone disease and they had a child through surrogacy. Persons with disabilities have the freedom to decide on how many children they want to have, when and how they would like to have them, along with the related responsibilities of such decisions. Persons with disabilities, including children, can make decisions on their ability to reproduce, just like everyone else. This is a picture of a blind person holding a baby in a baby carrier that is strapped to his chest, and he is holding his white cane. Persons with disabilities have the right to be appointed as guardians of children and to adopt children, and bear all responsibilities associated with these appointments like everyone else. Children with disabilities have the right to be brought under wardship or trusteeship, where applicable, like other children. The only test to be used in these cases is what the arrangement would be that would be most beneficial to the child, considering all aspects of his life. This is a picture of Aditya from India, who is a single man who adopted a son with Down syndrome. Children with disabilities have the right to family life like other children. They shall not be hidden away or abandoned or have their needs ignored or be forced to live separately. No child with disability will be taken away from its parents because of its disability. Similarly, no parent with disability will lose custody of their child because of their disability. Children will not be separated from their parents against the will of the child unless a judicial body which has the power to make these decisions and whose decisions can be appealed comes to the conclusion after a thorough inquiry that this separation is in the best interest of the child. Children with disability have the right to be cared for in family settings and in the community. The state is to ensure the rights in 23 by taking measures that are both effective, that means they provide results, and appropriate, which means that they take into account other challenges which may exist in the cultural context of the country. The effectiveness and appropriateness of these measures are tested by protection and fulfillment of the rights of marriage, family planning, and fertility. This is a picture of Sujit, who is a talented musician, and his wife Carrie, who is American, on their wedding day. They both have Down syndrome. States must protect the rights of persons with disabilities to marry with free and informed consent of the parties and enable the recognition of supported decision-making and communication of such decisions to appropriate authorities. In India, codified marriage laws disallow marriages of persons who are deemed incapable of giving consent or, though capable of giving a valid consent, are thought to be suffering from a mental disorder of such kind or to such extent that they are unfit for marriage and the procreation of children, in the opinion of others, or if they have been subject to recurrent attacks of insanity. In addition, a marriage registration authority must provide for accessible materials like forms explaining the rights and obligations to ensure free and informed consent of all parties to the marriage. This is a picture of two women with disabilities reading a book on family planning. States must ensure access for persons with disabilities to information, education on reproduction and family planning, and the means to exercise these choices like everyone else. Able-bodied persons are able to access birth control and pregnancy tests and make these decisions in a confidential manner. But if such devices aren't accessible, then persons with disabilities are discriminated against, as they are forced to involve others in these decisions. This is a poster against forced sterilization, depicting women of different races protesting. It is in Spanish and English and says, "Stop forced sterilization." States must protect persons with disabilities from forced sterilizations or other forms of fertility control, which may be given to them without their informed consent by family or professionals. Many women with disabilities who face high restrictions in participation undergo sterilization processes because professionals believe that they cannot handle their menstruation in a hygienic manner. This is an animation gif of a baby stroller that was designed by a 16-year-old boy. This stroller attaches to a wheelchair, which allows a wheelchair user to push their baby by themselves. The state shall provide the support that a person with disability requires to bring up their children. A qualification to adopt a child in many states, including India, is that a parent should be mentally and physically fit, and so persons with disabilities are in theory prevented from adopting children. In India, the income criteria for adopting a child and a child with disability is very high, and people who want to adopt children with disabilities are unable to do so. If they were given support of the state, they could ensure the best interests of the child. State support also includes promoting technology like the animation above. This is a picture of young deaf boys in a school. The state shall provide information, services, and support to children with disabilities and their families to prevent practices which result in children with disabilities being hidden away, neglected, left on their own, or forced to live in segregated conditions. For instance, when confronted with the birth of a deaf child, parents have no information on how to proceed from doctors. Many years of the child are wasted on measures which have no benefit instead of early intervention or rehabilitation, etc., which can greatly improve the child's quality of life. This is a photo of a young girl outside a government building in Ireland. She is with a government official. She is in a wheelchair. State parties shall ensure that it is only judicial authorities that make decisions on the custody of children, and that children are not separated from their parents on the basis of disability of either party. If, even with the support of the state, a family is unable to care for a child with disability, the state shall take efforts for the child to be brought up in the extended family setting. And if this also fails, then the state shall ensure that the child is brought up in a family setting in the community and not in an institution. Article 12 of the CRPD provides that state parties have to take all appropriate and effective measures to ensure the equal right of persons with disabilities to own or inherit property. This is also found in Section 13 of the Rights of Persons with Disabilities Act. However, because Section 96 says that the provisions of this Act shall be in addition to and not in derogation of any other law for the time being in force, we need to ensure that inheritance laws across religions reflect this non-discrimination and also provide for supported decision-making for persons with disabilities who need the same. At Equals, we are drafting a position paper on personal laws for the Law Commission of India, and we hope to have many responses from the sector on what should be added to such a submission, including case studies that you may have experienced at your organization or in your own life. If you aren't already in our email group, please contact us on amba@equalscpsj.org to be included in the draft submission circulation. If you would rather write to the Law Commission of India directly, the address is Member Secretary, Law Commission of India, 4th floor, B Wing, Lok Nayak Bhavan, Khan Market, New Delhi, 110003. The telephone number is 011-2465-4954. The fax number is 011-2465-4935. The email address is lci for Law Commission of India .dla, that's D for Delhi, L for London, A for America, @nic.in. The website is lawcommissionofindia.nic.in. The deadline is the 6th of April. Thank you so much for your time, and we look forward to your responses.